Hello. This reading is for Leo. What is today? I don't know, November something. I think it might be the 12th or the 13th, something like that. Sometimes my days blur together. I'm not gonna lie, most days they blur together. Time is an illusion, so I try not to judge myself too much about that. All right, so I am using the Urban Tarot, and I'm not sure what deck I'm going to use if I do use another deck. So the first card out we have is the Four of Pentacles in reverse, which says power. And then to further explain that is the Tower card in the upright. So, yeah, those are people. This particular deck, a lot of the cards are focused around New York City because, I don't know, I think the person that made the deck, it lives in New York City. So this is like a scene from somewhere in New York. The reason I bring it up is because I feel like New York is going to complete shit right now. It's being overrun we're literally being invaded, and New York City is one of the cities that is considered a sanctuary city. So it's being overrun. Back on track on the reading. Well, that has to do with the reading, to be honest. But the power, with the power in reverse, and this always reminds me of like this, even though that's not what Four of Pentacles usually means, this particular card always reminds me of like the power of the people, but it's at the bottom. It's in the reverse. I'm hearing because it's getting to a tipping point in New York City. But New York City is just a reflection of what's happening everywhere. New York City is a very important place in our world today. It's like a mecca of, at least it used to be, of a lot of different cultures coming together and meeting and just kind of like being on the I heard up and up, or like innovation, things like that. It's where a lot of artists and professionals alike, not to say that artists aren't professionals, but like professional fields versus artistic fields, where they would meet and join and coalesce. And there was like the Big Apple, it's like where I think a lot of other people that live in other places that aren't in the US, when they think of the US, New York City is one of those places that they think of, especially with here, the Tower card. It's kind of hard to see, but the Statue of Liberty is actually flooded, and there's her hand there. So that's Ellis Island. So I feel like this is talking about there's like a tipping point where like the people that make up this great country of America. But again, because New York City is one of those places where the world, when they think of the USA, they think of places like New York City. It has that power and it holds that like the world is watching type of energy, because it is. There is a tipping point now that the people have had enough. The people have had enough of being on the bottom. The people are supposed to be, you know, the people that comprise of our nation. And that's what our government is supposed to work for. But it's not like that. Our government doesn't work for us. They literally thrive off of our suffering, off of our hardships, off of our hard work, off of our livelihoods, and don't serve us at all. They only serve their own gains. They don't serve. That's not serving. That's stealing. So there's a tipping point. And that's further honed in with the Tower card here. It's a sudden change. And then once that change happens, it's like everything's flipped upside down. But sometimes, you know, some bullshit gotta happen for, you know, sometimes, I mean, maybe this is an appropriate or horrible analogy because I'm being reminded of 9/11. Even though that's not exactly what I'm talking about, but because we're talking about the city here, New York City, sometimes buildings need to tumble over, structures need to fall apart for you to see that the foundation was not stable, for you to see that there was lies, that everything was built on lies. And then the next cards we have here is the Knight of Swords, which says the Game Master, but it's in the reverse. And then we have the Nine of Pentacles, Gain. And the Seven of Cups in reverse, it says, is that Debauch? Debauch. That's weird for me to say that, debauch. I always would say, if I ever used a version of that word, it would be debauchery. But debauch is the noun version of that. It's in the reverse, so. So with this being the Knight of Swords, and it says the Game Master in reverse, I feel like it's saying the game is over. The game is done. Which would make sense with these first two cards here because the lies are being called out. And this is tied to financial assets, financial money, banks. There's something really sinister happening with our financial systems in the U.S. It literally, and everything that I can possibly think of in the regards to what's happening to the American dollar is they being the government and the elites that really control everything are doing everything in their power to degrade the value of the US dollar, which doesn't really hurt the elites because they wouldn't do this if they didn't have something else in mind, and they have something else in mind. Yeah, central bank digital currency is what they have in mind. And this what is it called? The Real ID bullshit that they're making everyone get, and I think it's like 2025. That's just like another version of what they have in China already with the social credit score. That's what it's going to be. That's what they're trying for it to be. However, I don't believe their plans are going to work because here we have the Game Master in reverse. Like the Game Master, you know, he knows all the ins, all the outs, all the quirks, all the rules. He just studies it. This is something they're not ready for. They think they got everything in a row, all their ducks lined up, but they're going to learn. And while they're learning, the people are going to be empowered. Because the people, again, it's hard to see, right? Like these little people here, they're on top. because the power was always with them. They've just been conditioned all of their lives to think that they don't have any power. But people are waking up. Backtrack here to the Knight of Swords here in reverse. To further explain that, we have the Nine of Pentacles in the upright, gain, and debauch, Seven of Cups in the reverse. So I think this is like further reiterating what I was talking about here, is that even though it seems like, right, this person isn't awake, they're sitting there with cucumbers on their eyelids and just laid back in the jacuzzi, just chilling out. But you don't know what they were doing before this. I'm hearing workout. Like most people, like, well, not most people, but some people after they work out, you know, might want to do that. Relax their muscles, and chill out. Especially if they're doing it somewhere in public. Like, why would you do that in public? Why wouldn't you do that at home? So I feel like I'm hearing like there's work going on behind the scenes that the people that are in power don't have eyes on it, because it's on a different level. Like, if you think about it as a camera is pointing in one direction. It's happening just outside of the camera lens. Like, it's not in their scope of vision. And it has to do with feeling like you don't have a lot of choices. Okay, so I'm hearing the anxiety isn't being felt because instead of you freaking out over not having enough choices, you're like, well, these are my options. And there's like a sense of peace knowing that, like, you can kind of like hone in and focus more specific instead of being scatterbrained all over the place, which the Game Master in reverse, like, they're not used to that. They're expecting you to be like freaking out and like losing your shit and like not knowing what to do, and then therefore making stupid decisions. But that's what this sudden change is. It's like, again, people are waking up. Like, you not following along with the script they're lying out, the plan that the Game Master's lying out, is throwing them off. Meanwhile, even though to them it seems like you don't have a lot, like, you are just sitting, you're just like, you know what? I put in a lot of work. I always do, and I always will. But for right this moment, I'm just gonna like rejuvenate, relax, and replenish and get my mind right. And that's not the reaction they were expecting. They were really expecting you to like freak out. But you're like totally calm and like this ain't shit. The next cards we have here is the High Priestess. Remember I was talking about, why don't you do that at home? There she is. She's in the tub at home with her candles and got like some kind of stuff in the water because the water's purple. Okay. Queen of Cups in reverse with the High Priestess, and then further explain that is the Emperor in reverse, or in the upright. So this is the High Priestess, and with the Queen of Cups paired with the High Priestess, I feel like you're really like isolating yourself, which is not like Leos. This is a weird place for Leos to find themselves in, because they tend to not function well if they don't have a crowd. But I feel like in their head, they're like, this is leading up to something big, and I need to like, people are gonna know what I did and when I did it type of energy. Especially with the high priestess here, because the high priestess knows what others don't. She's in tune with, well, it's like this whole reading. Like, instead of you acting a certain way, you're acting in a completely different way than statistically speaking you should. And you're finding that it's serving you, so you go further into yourself, further into like what you need and what you want. And that is a very Leo trait. But you're still finding yourself at odds a little bit, because you don't want the company, you don't want the audience. You really truly just want some alone time to self-reflect and contemplate. And it's not that you're not hurting for nothing. Like, you're completely taken care of, whether that be financially or emotionally. I'm feeling both of that. And then to further explain that is the Emperor card. So it's like you're really just stepping into your power, like combining that feminine and masculine energy and finding a real balance. And it's probably why you're feeling in a weird place where you don't want an audience, or feel like you're lacking because you don't have an audience. You don't need to tell anybody any of this, because even if you tried to, like, they probably would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what the hell is this shit that you're talking about? Like, I feel like probably the people that you have in your inner circle, you feel like won't really understand what you're going through and what you're dealing with. It's kind of why you keep it to yourself. Pulling cards with final message. Here we got the Rebel and the Emperor. They are essentially the same cards. So you are really stepping into your power. Like, when you're the Emperor level status, especially paired with the High Priestess and the Tower card here, like, you don't have to worry about having an audience, because people are noticing what you're doing. The people around that are in your inner circle notice what you're doing, notice you're acting different, notice that you're like doing bigger and badder things, quote unquote, badder in a good way. And people that don't know you, when they do meet you, they're like, whoa, who the fuck is this? Like, I need to know this person. I need to know more about them. Let me look up their social media profiles. How do they feel politically? Like, what are they wearing? Designer clothes or like vintage? Like, I don't even know. Like, people are just honestly obsessed with you. Probably why you don't really care about doing something to attract somebody. That's crazy, because the last reading I freaking did, these two cards came out in the opposite way. I believe the Rebel was in the upright or reverse, and this one was in the upright. Understanding in the reverse. Okay. Let me just pull. Okay. 2 cards. 3 cards. That. Okay, hold up. I was like, that card came out too. No, it was close. It wasn't that card. But that card came out. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think that with the understanding here in reverse is basically saying, like, you're, again, it's about you not being worried about other people. Like, you, understanding is something that you need to have for other people. And you're not worried about other people with this energy that's happening here. And Thunderbolt, what is that? 14. Is that Tower? I think that's the Tower card. That is the Tower card in this deck. And it's coming out again. So there's some major changings coming up. Changings. changes coming up for you, Leo. And it's like funny, right? Because this one is like water energy, and this one is fire and lightning. I feel like this is like a physical representation of how you feel, and this is how you feel inside. You feel like you're on fire. You feel like you want to explode. And it's because in the 3D world, you have to be careful how you conduct yourself. You can't really embrace that fire energy that your sign is indicative of, because it's too intense, it's too much, and it doesn't create the right effect. But we have the Tower card here and the Emperor card here again. Slowing down and ordinariness. Right. I think that's what it is, your Tower. Part of you not really trying to have an audience is like you're really trying to humble yourself, really just trying to go within, really trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy. Because you've discovered that when your cup is full and when you love you, that's the only way that you can adequately like really be there for anyone else anyway. And let's be honest, you're Leo, your goal isn't to be there for anyone else. If they're somebody that's like in your inner circle that you've already accepted, yeah, absolutely, you want to be there for them. But I feel like you're really trying not to spread yourself too thin and be mindful of your resources. And that's part of the reason why you're feeling like this, just kind of sitting pretty, because you're not stretching yourself too thin and you're keeping your circle small. Because that's part of your survival. Like, you don't thrive in situations where you don't have your inner circle there for you, there with you, or easily being able to reach out to. But you're a Leo, so that's like the bare minimum. But I feel like there is you're gonna find a new type of joy that you haven't really experienced before with this newfound solitude that you're seeking. And I really feel like you're really truly coming into your power, and to not fear the Tower moments, plural, because I feel like there are moments, there's like with your emotions and like the things that make you emotional, whether it be in a good way or a negative way, and the things that you're passionate about, there's going to be changes with that. You're going to find yourself not so emotionally attached to certain ideas that you used to be, and you're going to find yourself you're going to find passion in things that you didn't have before, or it's something that you newly discovered. But it's gonna like kind of cause you to question like a lot of things in your life, and that's where the Tower moment comes in. It's like a jolt, a sudden change, overwhelmingness almost. But I feel like you find a way to like calm it down, take your time, and find a neutral space where you can deal with that. And it ultimately leads you to being like honing in on all the things that you're good at and really just amplifying those. And the things that you're not good at, you're a little bit better at, because that's what happens when you're faced with challenges in life. You learn and you grow, or you wither away. I don't see that happening. So that is my reading for Cancer. And and I hope you liked it. I hope you got something out of it. Please like the reading if you liked it. Please share if you want to share. And please subscribe if you don't want to miss anything that I post. All right? Thank you so much for viewing my content. Bye-bye.